Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show on the road. There we go. Look at all that beautiful chat. Look at all that chat. It's good. Things are looking good. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Oh, there we go. I got something not muted. There we go. I'm so narcissistic. I got my own stream running in the background. Let's just pause that. Save my bandwidth for another time. We're always trying to get these streams. It's just the dumpster truck on fire, man. It's just a dumpster just on fire, rolling downhill, run away. It's great. It's great. I'm gonna make that thing work for me. Okay. So, let's do this thing. I turn my headphones down just a smidgen. Hopefully that's not too loud for all of y'all. Thank you for joining us. So welcome to the David West stream. This is what we do here. It is just a complete mess all of the time while I try to make a video game. And this whole... look, I'm punching my monitor. And so, what we like to do at this stream is, if you're the first time coming here, this is what we do. On Sunday nights, we do game development, we do game design discussion through conversation and gameplay. So we do our traditional kind of streaming, and we talk about game design and what the game I'm playing is, and what games we're playing, and what's good, what's bad, stuff like that. The idea is so I can learn to bring stuff into my own game. That's the key. And Tuesday nights, which is tonight, it's the first time we've done it on a Tuesday, is development night. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing some coding. It's going to be good. But what we do to kick things off is we usually do a segment I like to call Dev Thoughts. And I'm going to get that going right away here. But first, I got to fix my presentation. Oh, look, you can't even see it yet. You can't even see it because I'm just... This is on fire. My house has been a mess the last couple of days. Everyone's getting sick. The whole thing's going on here. So we are going to get this thing going. Like I say, it's like if you were coming here for a hardcore pro show here, you came to the wrong place. I'll tell you that much. I'm just going to go back to me. Go to studio mode so I'm not shooting my own toes off here. We're going to move OBS over. Look, I'm cleaning up my desktops live. This is what you came for here. You came to see me clean up some desktops. Clovis, hey, how's it going? Hey, Alex, how's it going, my friend? Did someone say fire Stilterfish? That's my man. There you go. There is a fire, and it is definitely this stream. So, just so you know, Clovis, the entire, all the chats, Twitch, Mixer, and YouTube are actually relayed. They usually stay working. It's a beta product from Restream, which is how I broadcast all three of them. It's just a bit of a science experiment. But Mixer and Twitch are the two big ones. So it's always good to stick around those things, but everyone can see what you're saying, so it's not just on screen, hopefully. Hopefully this time around. So now we're just going to get the slide deck set up here. We're going to do an episode of Dev Thoughts. Live. Unedited. It's going to be good. So let's get the slides thing. Yeah, the whole world is on fire here. The toddler came home. So much longer. I'd love to do another one today. Yeah. So my Mixer's my fave, though. You know what? I found out, Stilterfish, that apparently one of the things I'm getting with my chatbot is there's a way to link your accounts. Don't know how that works or what that even does for you, but there is a way. It's coming once I figure out what the heck I'm doing with that chatbot in the first place. But I added some commands today. I got some commands in there, so go ahead and type $ or exclamation mark commands, and hopefully a bunch of them show up. Otherwise, you're gonna have to guess. Did anything show up? It doesn't look like anything showed up, eh? I forgot to implement the commands thing. Well, there are a bunch of them. Oh, here we go. So you got one. Perfect. Alright, so here we go. So let's mark my stream. Here we go. Marker. Start DT. Awesome. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go into a live episode of Dev Thought. So stick with me in 3, 2, 1. Transition. And welcome to an episode of Dev Thoughts with your favorite host, David West, because I'm the only one here. And yeah, so here we are. So Dev Thoughts is a show where I, David West, a longtime old salt of a developer, talk about something that's been on my mind related to game development. Whether it's tooling, coding, practices, controversies, whatever I think of, it's fully subjective. It's all my opinions, and that's why I'd like to take about 10 minutes to share that with you today. Now, last week we started a whole series of them on Epic Game Service. We started with Epic Online Game Service and moved on to just the general idea of using a game services back end. So, what we do is if I click on my slides, I'm talking about game services analysis. That's what we're doing today, and it's part 2 we're covering today. And more specifically, we're continuing on from where we left off, and we are going to be talking about Steamworks today. This is a very interesting one because it's a very specific type of service, and it's very unique though, and very powerful one at best. But just to recap for all those that are new, what we did last time was I was talking about my game Vagabond and what I wanted to do for having a sort of, what do you want to call it, a back end. You know, I could implement my own by scratch, but I don't have time for that. I know there are services that do this for me. There's lots of them out there. So what I'm looking for more specifically is game analytics, my player analytics. What are they doing? What are they liking? What are they crashing? What's making them stuck? You know, I want to have a little bit of interactivity with them. On top of that, what other bonuses do I get? And more specifically, my needs were game analytics, cross-platform, cross-engine, because although I'm using Unity right now, I'm not 100% committed, but I also want to be exceptionally affordable. I'm an indie, self-published, self-funded, self-everything. If this thing's going to cost me 10 G's, or if it's going to cost me $500, I don't know if I'm going to make $500 on this game, right? I want it to be very affordable. This isn't supposed to be a hobby. It's supposed to be profitable if I can do it. So very affordable. Doesn't not necessarily have to be free, but it's up there. It's one of the most important things. My wants, though, is I would like player data storage. Again, that goes with the cross-platform fees and package distribution, the ability to download DLC or something like that to my individual users. And that actually ties into a question that came up last week about sending auto updates. I'm going to answer that after the whole thing here, after the whole episode. So, these are the 5 things we're going to be looking at. We added a 5th one after last episode because a lovely user named Schmelliork came on by and introduced me to Heroic Labs, and we're going to do that on a later episode. But these are the 5 that we're covering. Last week we covered Azure PlayFab, so that's where we're starting this week. We're going into Steamworks. So Steamworks is what Steam, like the launcher that we all know and love, but it's ubiquitous with PC game distribution. This is the back end that Steam provides at no cost to any of the developers. So where I did a lot of my research is you go to partner.steamgames.com. There's a specific area about Steamworks that you can go to, and if you check that out, there's a whole set of documentation with the features Steam actually provides to game developers. So that's where I kind of did most of my analysis. So in terms of the needs that Steamworks, I'm just kind of going to jump right into my findings rather than go over the overview. Steamworks does provide analytics. It does provide a sort of a cross-platform setup, but it's also very affordable. Actually, I didn't update this slide properly, but there is just a free tier. It is just straight up free. So I'm not going to fix that right now. We'll have to do this again later. But what do I got here? What we got here is that it's completely free as long as you're distributing your game on Steam. So you can see how lazy I am with my slide decks. I don't even actually review them 3 times over. And the reason I say it's cross-platform sorta is the challenge is you have to use Steam. And although Steam is ubiquitous, there's a lot of things, and we're going to get into that later, but it's not exactly cross-platform. I'm tightly coupled to a specific launcher, and I'm not sure if I'm digging that. In terms of the wants, it does provide player data and package distribution, and even does the updating aspect of it. That's a big deal. So this is actually a different bonus, which I'll talk in about a little bit, but it does cover my player data needs. It has a lot more than I could even possibly imagine, but it does cover all my wants as well. Now the big bonus that comes with this, it's a very small font. I'll have to change this for next time, but Steam is easily the most popular distribution platform for PC games, no doubt. PC, Linux, and Mac as well, right? It's easily the most popular platform. It's free to use, so free is best, as I can see in the chat there. Free is best as long as the game is on Steam. So as soon as you pull the game off Steam and you want to sell it through something like GOG, Epic Games, Microsoft Store, Xbox Store, it becomes a challenge, right? You can't really do that. You have to start figuring out an alternative. But it also includes the launcher capabilities. So if I start launching my prototype through Steam, nice gentlemen like Stilterfish don't have to worry, but they can click install once they install the prototype, and it'll update itself every single time. That's a huge win, having a launcher woven into your whole platform right away. So what's the catch? Well, the catch is that it's Steam. Okay? If you're following what's going on in mainstream gaming right now, or mainstream PC gaming, the whole thing about there's a big set of competition rising up, right? Epic Games being the biggest one with the Epic Games launcher, and I know it's very controversial, and I see what they're doing. Their store and their launcher is not better than Steam, no doubt, but they are offering back-end services. They're smaller and they're free still, but they are cross-platform, cross-engine, cross-store. They're going to stay that way. We covered these earlier. We're going to cover them again as part of the series. And they're also really focused in on improving and changing the market, which Steam has had Valve has had a stranglehold on this for a long time, which brings me to the second point, is the support aspect from Valve. I don't think I could get support from Valve if I paid for it. I don't think it's possible. This is the general story. If you read about what happens online, you read about how developers, it's kind of a laissez-faire economic style launcher and marketplace. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. They've done great things with that launcher. But as an indie, someone who's small, trying to get going, I don't want to have to fight and Google search my way into support how to get my users back online or anything like that. So there's a definite catch and some risk with going with Steam. So, but my conclusion, at the end of the day, Steamworks is a winner is you by default. They win because of the ubiquity of the Steam launcher, not because it's the best one, and also the maturity of their Surface offering. This is a big deal, right? They offer mod workshop support. They offer DLC mod. Players, everything you could think of is there. They've defined what we call game services, the back-end game service. They defined it. And now PlayFab, Epic, all these other players in the market, they're just replicating what Steam has, but Steam did it, and they're doing it very well. And the fact of the matter is, it is free, and it is the largest it's the largest platform that's out there, so it's kind of hard to just ignore it. But again, there's some trade-offs you got to understand. Do you want to make it a Steam exclusive, or do you want to expose it to other markets and worry about other options? That's where you got to really decide where you want to go. And my personal preference is to try to go cross-platform, cross-store if I can at all do it. I think there's a way to do it with PlayFab still. And with that, that's going to bring us to the end of Dev Thoughts. So let's turn on chat again. Is chat back on? Boop. Okay, chat should be on now. I think chat is on. Let's see here. Think so. Yeah, it's on. Okay, good. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. But that is what Dev Thoughts is. We're going to mark up that stream right here. There we go. Stilterfish is on TV. And you just advanced to level 5. I still don't know what that means yet. Perfect. And look at that. M Omega's up there. That's awesome. So let's close my slides. And let's boot up Unity Hub here. What is this music? What is going on? Brethren, arise. This is very heavy. There we go. It's a bit nicer. Yeah. So I'm digging it. It means I'm a winner. It's fantastic. Alright, let's go over to my desktop here in a second. I'm going to close this. We're going to open up all of the things that we need to actually code. Not actually code. We're actually going to get it right into Unity. I don't know how much code. We're going to do a little bit of code porting tonight. Started doing some digging on what we're going to try to implement tonight. So what I want to do is I want to get the narrative scripting stuff that we've been doing since the beginning. If I can remember my SSH key. There we go. Now, I forgot to change my resolution. See, this is yeah, when your kids get sick, man, it is The fact that I'm even able to be here is magic. I was not sure until I said, like, yeah, it's gonna be live. Okay, here we go. This should be big enough. Okay, we're gonna go over and let's do this. Desktop. Boop. There we go. So I got it all zoomed in here. And hopefully this works a little. That's not what you guys need to see. You need to see this. They're not bad, not bad. It's a little bit bigger today. Okay. Let's move that so it covers up chat a little bit. Perfect. Okay. Hey Morgan, how's it going, my friend? It's going good. It's going good. It's going awesome, man. Glad to see you here. That's fantastic. Getting all kinds of people showing up today. This is lovely. So tonight we just finished up the dev thoughts, and now we're going to get into where the game's at. And tonight we're going to do the tech of porting our narrative design, our narrative tooling into the modern game. So we're going to do a little bit of a recap because I want to see where this game came from. So first, here's where, just to point out our Morgan's point here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to open this scene. We're going to open the old scene. Scene. Gameplay. This is where we started. Stilterfish, you were around for all of this stuff. This is what we built originally. Really text-based. I'm going to kind of expand this a little bit. It's going to be a bit sloppy because I'm not going to really worry about it too much in terms of the sizing. I guess I can't. I have to worry about it a bit. There we go. Perfect. So this is loading up what we call an ink script, and is where I'm writing it on the separate side of it, and then you could just do this, right? So I can click continue these little commands. Let's get going. You see over on the right-hand side, these are the commands that would show up. These were scripted as part of the narrative tooling, and I can say I want to go north and I want to walk. But I can't go north because I'm on a strict map, and I have that all programmed and set up in a data and tiled, and it's this whole thing we're doing. I'm not going to get into the weeds with it. But the idea here is I can head south, you can hitch, and you can keep going south, you can keep going, but all of these commands that show up here, all this stuff, all this text is actually handled separately by a narrative writer person, right? So our game writer. At this point it's me, but now I'd released this in January, so if you go to the itch.io page, you can type ! Vagabond to see this one. It's only available on Windows, but this is all it is. There's nothing fun. This thing sucks, and that's fine. This is just about getting things out the door. But then I realized something pretty quickly, is I need something on screen to make it pop. Hate that term. But you need something to look at. I'm bored looking at this screen, and I'm the one doing the stream. So why am I getting you to come down here? So I did it for just a kind of a, let's make this thing look and feel good. If the stream's boring, then the game's gonna be boring. So let's flip that around. Let's make something visual out of it. So what we did is we started from a different perspective come March. So if I open up the next scene, we go to road. So to ignore this quick game thing, we're going to push start, and this is what will be available soon. So this is the game here, and I'm just controlling it with WASD, and you can see this guy rocking around. We've got the most basic thing, collision detection. You can see over here on the left what's actually going on outside of the camera. You can see here, I can walk into walls, but the big one was this. Push spacebar. And then here's the first line of dialogue for Garbage Bag 1. You continue it, move along, and then we manage to go over here. And I've gotten some feedback from that up on the itch.io page too, on the community site. You can actually leave feedback for the game over there. We're going to streamline that a little bit better. But this is the game that's functional right now. This is what we really built in February, March. Okay. It's the Lost Baby Blob thing. It is. It's a garbage bag. But this is the thing. We wrote, and I actually wrote a script based on all the lovely feedback from you people over on Twitter. And M Omega, I know you're one of them. Your content is in there, my friend. But we've got a script that we want to load in here, and what I want to do is I want to port that narrative scripting piece and put that into the game. So when you walk up here, these text boxes are not filled up with static text. They are filled up with a dynamic ink script that is being loaded and being sucked in there. Hey, what's the red dot on the left window floating the player? Oh, this thing? So this is actually my developer's view. So if I, see, you look at this. This is actually, the red dot is where the camera is. So when I click on it, you can actually see where the camera is in scene. So let's click on that one more time. I'm breaking all the things here. Oh my goodness, what did I clicked on something. Well, now I've done it. Let's just stop the game. Push play again. So the red dot is actually where the camera is located. So right now it's just hovered right over me. So when I start moving, it starts to follow me around. I have the camera configured to kind of have a bit of a dead zone depending on where I'm placed on screen for the 2D aspect. And to point out, these are not all final graphics. This is all open public domain graphics from Kenny.nl. And this is just to get the gameplay working, because we gotta find, you know, like the show says, where's the fun, right, Morgan? Where's the fun? It's not here. It's nothing here yet, but this is fun. Walking up to the what could be a baby blob, could be a tire, could be my face, could be all kinds of things. Magic Stew, my friend, welcome to the stream, my friend. We're doing some game dev tonight, man. Yeah, you know, it's actually one of the scripts that came with the Unity camera, Stilterfish. It's pretty good. The Cinemachine that comes with Unity is pretty nice. I gotta say, for 2D stuff, there's a lot of good work being done in Unity for 2D. A lot of good progress on there, but we'll see. It's all adjustable through the little scrolls. But yeah, this is where we're at right now. And the other thing we did is we got some bugs and some feedback, and so one of the things you can do now is you can pause. You can actually quit the game. One of the bugs that was reported was you can't quit. Turns out that's the thing you want to do in your game. You want to quit it when you want to. I can't do it in here because I'm in the developer mode. But yeah, we want to be able to quit the game sometimes. So we did a couple little bug fixes here or there that we could, and we're starting to get some feedback pouring in, which is good. I like seeing just a little bit, just start. But this is why we've been going into the analytics and all that kind of stuff. We want to go in, understand what the players are actually doing, right? And that's what we want to do for the prototype, suck in a little bit of data. And so tonight we're going to do a little bit of that narrative scripting stuff. We're going to port it over and see what code we can bring in, and then that's the big plan. So let's bring this guy up. What we need is Inky. Inky is my friend. So I'll show you the script here. So if I go to, is that under stories? Where did I put this thing? Levels, map, assets. Have I not imported it yet? I may have not imported it yet. That's how prepped I am, ladies and gentlemen. Is like I said, it's a garbage truck on fire. It's just lovely. But if you want some information about the game itself, type in !Vagabond. It'll show you the link to download the game. It's available on Windows and OS X now, so you can always play it. And I'm just looking for the most basic feeling you get out of it. Stilterfish has left some good comments up on the Kokoboko Studios, which is where I kind of wrap all my development projects up, on the message board there. So you can always go there and check it out and just leave some feedback about just how it feels. It feels clunky. It has controller support for an Xbox controller. The idea is to get this thing onto an Xbox by summertime, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so things have come a long way. I think I'm starting to kind of wrap my brain around. So R. Morgan and I had a chat a while ago, because I know him off stream as well, and he knows a thing or two about writing stuff for video games. He just knows a thing or two about it. And we were chatting about it. And he asked me this great question, which I stole shamelessly and put as my title of my show, Where's the Fun, or WTF. And it really transformed a lot of it, because I started thinking about it from the stream's perspective, about the game's perspective, about all of the intent that I'm putting, all the effort I'm putting towards this. And because it has to be run lean. It's just me, and I'm at the same time trying to market the whole damn thing at the same time, right? It's a very big, challenging thing going on here. So I'm trying to put it all together, but you know, sometimes it's not doable. Lovingly given. I appreciate it. It was such a great idea. And it's a great question just to ask. It's something I look at when I look at games. I'm watching streams with people playing games. You know, Magic Stew is playing Wormus, or Worms.is, or Worms, and it was I had that blasted in my kitchen, Stew. It was it was something, man. It was something. But Yeah, I got a good kick out. I was LOLing around my kitchen trying to get my kids' dinner ready to go, and I'm like, hey, I gotta turn this off. I'm gonna get this dinner finished. But man, it was good. And the games like that, games that I would never see normally, I'm analyzing where's the fun. And I'm watching Stu play this thing, and it's awesome to see him go through it, right? Like, guy's got a great stream. And it's where I see things going gaming-wise. You need those great experiences, and you need to know exactly where the fun is. And as soon as I tweeted that picture of this thing, the baby blob, as M Omega said earlier, he said, you know, what's this baby blob over here? And that's what he called it, a baby blob, a bunch of stuff. And I got a bunch of feedback off of people from Twitter, and man, it was awesome. It was seeing the responses, and I tried to keep as many of them in as I could, as long as I saw them on Twitter. Screenshotted a lot of them while I was on the road, and tried to capture them all at once. I think I got them all, but yeah. So I'm gonna just check my branches here. No, get branch R. Do I have it on R? Let's find out. I have lots of things. I have dialogue in dialogue window. Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to look this up. We're gonna look this up. So for reference, this isn't a command yet. So nothing to be sorry about, Stu. I was laughing hard, man. I was laughing hard. You earned that subscribe to that day, man. I don't LOL in real life, and I don't say it in chat unless I'm actually LOLing. And man, you had me in stitches, my friend. That was fantastic. So let's go over to the community site for this. So if you are interested in seeing progress, I'm gonna put this link in chat. Hopefully it works. Dev progress. You can go here. It is public. You should be able to see the dashboards and stuff. It's a work in progress. I'm trying to do something with this. I'm not sure what yet, but yeah, there you go. So it is showing up. It is showing up like a bit of noise from me, but that's okay. Here we go. So if I go over to my... So for me, you'll be able to see that stuff. But I can see source code if I can log in. Let's get me a login off screen just to be safe. You doing headless Unity builds? You know, I got them working. I got them working there, Omega. But I don't have it 100% yet. So I have them working. That's on my dev task, but I keep on asking myself, where's the fun? And the fun and the marketing take priority right now over the build quality. And it is an awkward thing to transition from a professional app developer in the big enterprise space to game developer, where it is acceptable to have baling wire and duct tape making the whole thing run. So I am just trying to figure that part out. But I do have it running from the command line. The next step is Docker. So here we go. So if I go to my Vagabond project, just want to go to branches here. Overview. Where are my branches? Branches. Here we go. Garbage bag. So I haven't even pulled this one down yet. Okay. There we go. Let's pull down garbage bag. Git pull origin. Garbage bag. Oh wait, F that. Git checkout b garbage bag track origin. I always get nervous writing this one. Garbage bag. It's not a commit and a branch. It's not? It is. Get fetch origin. Get all the branches, my friend. Do what I say, computer. Okay, just let me not look stupid in front of all my cool streamer buddies here. I can remember passwords, I promise. How loud's that music? Is it, let me know if the music's a little bit too loud. I'm trying to, just getting louder in my headphones, but yeah. No, build systems are my fun too, my friend. But yeah, it's funny. Game development is very different in terms of their opinions of that kind of stuff. I find it very fascinating. Okay, so we want to do git rebase dev. Sorry for all the command line nonsense, everybody. We're gonna get back into the game development stuff and play a bit more of the game and see what we can do. Oh, geez, I got lots of things going on here. That's interesting. Let's see if this thing can even build. Yeah, reload it. Reload it, baby. Did I break all of it? Did I break it all? Maybe. Maybe. Git pull origin ft garbage bag. All I'm trying to do right now, for those that are not command line cool people like me, by cool people I mean nerds, I am just trying to synchronize my source code because I back everything up meticulously so that I do not lose much. And because I am always bound to screw something up. So I'm always worried about that. So now, if everything went well, I should... Aha, dialogue. Here we go. Let's close this guy. So here is our narrative that we've written. So I have a main ink that I'm just choosing to kind of include everything. And this is the thing I want to walk. So you can actually debug in here. I want this setup to be showing up in the prototype sooner than later, because this is going to be this is the guts of the content. This is all of my scripting. It's going to handle music changes. It'll handle absolutely everything. And I think next week, next Sunday, we will be able to play the latest game from Inkle Studios to show you what like AAA, whatever you want to call it, very professional indie studio can actually do with this same exact technology. They have a game called Heaven's Vault that is coming out, I think, on the 14th. So I'm gonna try to, if it's available, I'm gonna try to play it on stream Sunday night and just see what it's like. I have no idea, but they've done some cool games that are narrative driven, and I want to take a little bit more survivally to it. So here's our lovely script. See, we got appearance, baby blob. So I just have this little setup here. So we walk up to what appears to be an old cauldron. It does this randomly. So when I restart it, I change. It goes, you're looking at a decaying tree stump. You realize how much better you're doing than this poor tree. Run it again. I got the same one. Run it again. It appears to be a sack of coal, but this is no ordinary bag of coal. This coal was mined from the dwarves of Illumia and will burn bright for 100 years. These are all the Twitter people that actually got... see, an old cauldron still shows up. Sack of coal. Here we go. A baby blob creature looking up at you, confused and lost. It looks into your eyes as if to ask, "Are you my mommy?" There we go. So that is Elon's secret. Yeah, that is Elon's secret. Absolutely. That is totally Elon's secret. So yeah, this is what I want to load up into the game when I walk up to that garbage bag. Now, we wrote the majority of this code in that old crummy version, that is version 0.1, the old text-based, menu-based one. It's kind of a mess. But the electric car thing is a hoax. There's just all those people over at Tesla. They're like, yeah, we got batteries, and they just got these poor dwarves just slaving away, man. Just come on. Make the Tesla talk funny. Make it do the thing, make it do the auto update while I'm driving. That's what I want. It's a great plan. I've heard those stories. Having your Tesla do an auto update, it shuts your car down. Boo! If you push the wrong series of buttons to let it do that. In any case. So what we're gonna do, so now you've seen the script, I'm gonna actually do a git checkout. Actually, we're just gonna keep this going here. Dwarfs, Elon fits that Willy Wonka role. He does. He's just this eccentric billionaire with, like, he's genetically modifying people to become batteries. Like, he's a real sick mind. He goes from PayPal. You know, he goes from PayPal. You know what? But I can create a new race of things we'll call them dwarves for fun, but, you know, like a mythical creature, and we'll put them inside of electric car batteries. We'll just call them batteries. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Let's see. Okay, so we have my garbage bag branch. We're gonna stick in the garbage bag branch. If I play this game, everything should still run. If I walk up to this guy, yeah, here's my dialogue. Everything's still working tickety-boo. So, there we go. Yeah. So let's start looking at a little bit of the code that we have to port over. So this is where it's gonna get tech, people. If you're into the code, into the kind of jumping back and forth between this, feel free to stick around. If you're non-tech and you're good for now, like I say, feel free to do the !Vagabond, find out more about the game and follow its development, and I'll be talking about it constantly on Sunday streams too. We'll be doing little gameplay reviews of it on Sundays as well, kind of stick the gameplay there, but this is all dev tonight. But yeah, things are coming along though. Things are coming along there, R. Morgan, so thanks for popping by and providing the support. You know, all of you lovely people. It's been great doing the streams. I've been having a lot of fun doing them. So the more the merrier, but man, it's lovely. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Okay, so let's open up the biggest, bloatiest thing I can find on my computer, which is Visual Studio. Just drag you over. I still gotta move you over to, move myself over to Visual Studio Code, where my heart wants to be. Oh, what did I clicked on a exclamation flag or something. I don't know what I did. Hey, it's Tilterfish, you're always welcome, my friend. Everyone's always welcome. Like I say, it doesn't get... I try not to stick too hard to the code, but, you know, you can ask Tilterfish. He sticks around, and he's new to code. He has a really cool stream where he's doing Scratch development and doing game development from that side of it, and I've been very fascinated in seeing how Scratch and the visual coding tools are coming forward. Things like Scratch, Stencil, both Unity, Unreal has an amazing visual coding system called Blueprints. Unity is bringing that into 2019. They bought a plugin that does it well, and they're doing that. So, you know, and if you have any questions about development, game tooling, game design, art, I do an absurd amount of reading about the business, the marketing, the tech. All of this nonsense is jammed into my silly brain underneath all this hair. There's no skull, it's just hair and then brain full of game nonsense. So if you have any questions, shoot them into the chat. Every question is welcome. This is a, you know, think of it as open office hours with some amateur guy pretending to be a game developer for a bit. I'm going to be a game developer one day when I grow up. Overnights and on-calls. Ah, man. That's rough, man. I've been noticing your streams haven't been showing up, but you know what? Sometimes it has to happen in real life, right? I've got the benefit right now of very rare... I'm on actually parental leave, if you can believe that. So that's pretty nice. So I'm taking care of the kids during the day, and I'm trying to do the streams in times that I could bring into the regular work hours. I started the streams before parental leave. I just kept practicing them at the same thing. And for M-Omega, if you've got questions about Unity and stuff like that, shoot them into the chat, man. Like, go ahead. Like, I might not have all the answers because I'm pretty damn new at it. And the version I'm using is 2018.3, which is the latest stable version. Not a big beta guy, but absolutely. If you got questions, shoot them into the chat, man. It's always welcome. So let's see what we got going on here. So here's the code we got to find here. So we got to go to our models. We have a lot of code here, but the stuff we really focused on was this narrative class. And I'm trying to think of how we want this to work. So, you know, here, let's draw. Let's do some drawings, shall we? Oh, that's the wrong one. It's not what I wanted to do, does it? Let's try this. Okay. Okay, perfect. So, if I think about this, I have a story. There we go. Haven't done one of these in a while. It's a red story. It's a scary story, clearly, because it's red. Red means scary. And this is actually essentially what this is. Essentially. This is just a data store. Put a nice little cylinder here, my hand drawing. Put a line there. So this is the file, right? So this is that script file I was telling you about. And they've actually got a whole API for me to use. One of the benefits of me using Unity for this thing. And so what we need to do is down here, let's put it in blue. Or let's make it pink. I like pink. I'll put text here. And actually, I'll just, instead of drawing my text, we have garbage bag, but this could be anything. This could just be, oh, go back. We have our garbage bag. What we want this to do is it needs to know, it needs to make a request somewhere. First of all, there needs to be a trigger. So let's ignore the trigger aspect of it. So a player needs to trigger this on the garbage bag and say, hey, I need my story. So this guy needs, so let's do a trigger. It also needs story ID. It also needs nothing. Let's just do story ID. It should have both of these. So put a little arrow between these two for friends. Okay, so what we need this garbage bag is when the trigger happens, the trigger goes off and says, "Hey, get me the story." So then up here, I need basically something like a fetch story controller. That's what I need. Yeah, just draw that like that. And this story controller will take a command, will take a parameter, and it'll do its thing. It'll get the story from that main inc file. So this is what I need to do. And what I've learned more recently is you need to build from the inside out. So you build from the gameplay, sticking with that simple question, right? Where's the fun? The fun is with the player. The player is control of the gameplay. They are controlling, in this case, the narrative when they are engaging the narrative. And so it's a fancy statement with an editor and an API. Pretty much. It pretty much is. That's what Unity kind of is. If you want to put it that way, I would say yeah, but it starts you off with no states. And everything, every individual sprite or game object has its own state. Every behavior, every mono behavior, anything you load into the memory. But oh, the Inky thing, that is, it's actually just a fancy way of, think of it as fancy Markdown. That's all it really is. It's just a JSON file underneath the hood with a parser. And it teaches you how to do it. It doesn't have to keep state. You can choose to do it. It's actually it's an open source piece of code. I would highly suggest taking a look at it because it is pretty rad. I can't look at it, but it is github.com/inkle/inky. And there's a whole bunch of tools that go with it as a separate compilation tool, everything. I'll put the link in chat once I'm done this little picture. So yeah, anyway, the thing I've learned is that we need to go back from the where's the fun, where's the player, where's everything happening. Build it from the gameplay side. Like our Morgan, you pointed this out, right? Everything focuses on the gameplay. So my development focuses on the gameplay. It doesn't even matter if it loads the story. How does that player engage the thing? How does the player make it fun? So that's what we got to do here. We got to have the garbage bag trigger the thing, which we have it happening with the dialogue window. But we have to have happen first now is go to the story controller, say, get me my story. I want to be ready to load this onto screen when the player wants my fun. When the player asks me for fun, I want to deliver. So that's what we're going to do. The story controller is really the fun controller because the guts of this whole game revolves around player interaction with the story. So, just gotta double check to make sure I'm not missing any text messages from upstairs, because I'm dealing with a whole whack of people that are sick in my house, full of a lovely stomach flu. I played with Twine a little bit. Very similar. The difference being that Twine is a full game engine solution. Like, you can build an entire game in Twine. Inky looks like that, but it is not. You need to wrap it in something, whether it's web, or whether it's a web UI, or whether it's, what do you want to call it? Like a Unity project or something like that. It's not a full game engine, but it does cover that 80%. It just doesn't give you the UI that you probably want or need to interact with it. So it's a nice little thing. So let's save this to my desktop, and we're going to call it 2019 04. Oh my goodness. 09 garbage bag plan zoomed. Great. Perfect. Everyone's happy. Everyone wins. Here is that link for anyone who's interested. This is a non-technical tool. It was designed. Is it Inkle Studios? Inkle/Inky, I believe. I'm just gonna double check the link before I go off and say what it is. I want to make sure that I'm sending it to the right place. Yeah. Here we go. You can head there. This tool is actually meant for. This is what actually got me thinking down this line about a designer hat and a narrative-driven hat versus a developer and a coder hat, which I've learned the differences. I keep on waving my hands, but I've learned the differences between the two. And yeah, so now what we need to do here is take our narrative class and port it over. So you can see I have a whole lot of methods here. This is just me wrapping the entire. I'm just wrapping the entire. What do you want to call it? The Ink API, the story API, like the core thing that the vendor provides me. So now I need to really just kind of bring this over. I have a bunch of series of custom events. Yeah. It initializes them. Is this a game object? No, it's not. Okay. So here's my class. I have my little signal prefix. This is what they actually told me to do on their Discord. How do I put extra things in there? Okay, so yeah. So I guess what we'll do. Here's what we'll do. So I haven't deleted any of my code yet, really. So I have this dialog folder, and we're gonna move stuff over here. Yeah, we're gonna move over this. We're gonna move narrative over there. It doesn't actually change anything because I'm not using namespaces, so it's not that big of a deal. And now I have this narrative thingy. But what I want to have is now I need to have, like, so I have this is the root narrative. So this is the thing that loads up all of my dialogue, everything that I need. And now what I need is, so I have that piece. Going back to our lovely picture. Where's our picture? Where is it? Boop. Here's our picture. This is beautiful artwork. You see, this is how real developers do it, ladies and gentlemen. This is how a hardcore dev does it. You do it in pink with crummy lines. Like, people pay the big money for this. Just thought vomit into the screen constantly. That is my life. That's been my career. Just thought vomit onto a screen. Series of accidents and thought vomit. David West. That's me. Okay. So let's go down to our game. So what I need here is, if I go to our garbage bag, our collider, our interactive objects. Here's what we got. Our interactive objects has garbage bag 1, garbage bag 2. So what I need is I need a script on here. So I have a dialogue trigger. So I could probably repurpose this thing to contact like the narrative controller. Do I have a controller thing? Do I have an empty object? What do I have for this? Do I have a controller for this? Dialogue window controller. That's how I do this. Okay. So what I need is a game object with the narrative controller. Yeah, that's what we need. We need to write a narrative controller. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay. So that's dialogue trigger. Let's call it a dialogue controller, I guess. Let's stick with it. Here's a pro tip for you. When you're dealing with your editor, always go back here and do open, create new C# script, and we're gonna call it a dialogue. I guess we're gonna call it a narrative controller, because this is the thing that's gonna be loading data for us. I want to be narrative is the data, well, the dialogue is the actual HUD and the thing that's visually displaying on screen, the things that are happening. But narrative is controlling everything. It's really this is the heart of everything. It should be loading up scripts. So we're gonna go back here. So it creates our nice little script here. Don't need you for now. We might re-add you later. I don't know. We'll see how I feel. See how I feel, buddy. Okay, now what I want to do... I did all this once before. That's the thing. So what I want to do is I want to be able to bind a specific script file to this controller. So we're going to get rid of update because I don't need an update method. And we're going to go back and we are going to add something. Let's actually load up. Let's just, rather than figure out what I did before, let's try to remember. We are going to go and see what I actually did. Scenes, gameplay, open. It would have been in the presenter? No. Gameplay model. Scenario ID. So this is the scenario script. So I had story data. Okay, how do I open this? Is there a way to open this from here? I guess not. Maybe? Okay, so I have a scenario script. This is in my model. But it's a script. How is it a script? Oh, here we go. Oh, I remember this thing. This is my big, overly complex garbage file. This is where I realized I needed to get out of the business here. I was getting way too deep into the weeds with re-implementing text-based stuff in a very visual environment. Oh, 1 second here, ladies and gentlemen. See, I'm on night shift. I got the kiddo monitor and everything here because everyone's coming down with flu. My better half, she's the last one to get it, so we are surviving. The stream must go on, right? Stream must go on. Okay, so what I'm gonna do then is, rather than worry about, let's close some of these extra things. I don't need any of this extra stuff. I don't need to have narrative. I need a narrative controller. And narrative controller is basically going to be this scenario thing. And I just want to steal... I want to steal this. Like that. Okay, I don't know why I did everything as properties. This was me trying to do old C# stuff. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna serialize the field as well. That way that shows up in our editor, I guess. Yeah, we'll keep it like that for now. I don't know if I need a public version of it yet or not. But, okay, we have our narrative controller. So we have our narrative, we have our story data. And now if I go back here, save this file, go into here. Okay, I don't need any of this other nonsense. So I think we're done with my old code for now, or my old editor file for now. Oh, not a new scene. Not a new scene. Open the scene. Open a different one. Erode. Where we're going, we don't need roads. But we do. Otherwise, there's no... You can't hitchhike without roads. Or can you? Gotta think about that one. Can you hitchhike without a road? I mean, I got the idea of you can walk, right? And you can wander into the woods and you can find all kinds of fantastical things outside in the middle of nowhere. But what can you... How does one get transport for free from strangers other than hitchhiking? Stowaway? Stowaway on a boat? On a bus? Not sure. Gotta think about that. See, these are the things I'm trying to wrap my brain around. Like, I want to try to explore the simple idea of just vagabond travel. And I've been reading that subreddit and backpacking and stuff. Because a lot of people do it on foot, right? They do train hopping. Is another way of doing it. If we can come across some trains, get you further across the country faster. So stowaway style. Anyway, just a thought. Okay. Interactive objects, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an empty one. We're gonna call this one, rename it. We're gonna call it narrative controller, and now we're gonna do. Go to dialogue, and we are going to go to, you know what we're going to do? This is me being silly. We're going to create a new, we're going to rename this guy. Oh, we can't. Just put it in the narrative folder. Like that. Perfect. Now take our narrative controller and plunk it onto this guy. Okay, perfect. So now you can see we have our little story data thing here. And if I take our... Where did I put it? It would have been under resources, dialogue, main, right? Do I just drop the ink file or do I drop the text file? I think I dropped the text file. There we go. So now we have our main story there. And narrative has story data. So narrative needs to be cleaned up. I don't know what I'm doing with narrative. What is this narrative object that I created? What is this thing? So I don't need you. I don't need you either. I don't care about you. I don't care about you weird properties that don't matter. I feel like I just wrapped this thing up for no reason. Maybe the controller can actually do this. Alright, Silterfish, you take care of yourself. Have a good night, eh? Don't work too hard, my friend. Train hopping would be such an opportunity. What's in the box when you hop in? What inspirations are there when you're waiting for you to inspire your audition song? So evocative. So that's an interesting idea. This is what has me thinking state machine. Huh. So this is kind of the gameplay loop. Let's take a minute from the development for a second and let's talk about gameplay, main gameplay loop just for another sec here. Because it's been a while since I've actually shared gameplay loop like in a collaborative sense. So the things I can see that are going on, let's make this, hold on, let's just make this, let's pick the color. Let's make it, is there purple? No, there's pink. What's L? Does L have a color? Oh, pink is beautiful. Let's go with pink. So you have travel. You have travel. So this is the idea of you walking or or this is the thing on the road. You are this is the view we're looking at right now. So if I look at this guy, oh, did I just delete my whole thing? Yeah. So when you look at this, this is the view you see. This is me traveling on the road. So, this is the player's view. This is one of the gameplay loops. They're sitting inside of the camera and they're watching us move. You're moving someone around. So that's the big distinct part about that is, let's see. So T, we're gonna do on the road, and that means the player has control. Let's click here. So we have this. This is leading you to another thing, which is called, I would just call it like in-depth. Let's call it venue. And there's a couple of venues I've thought of, and this kind of started with, and all you're really doing is you're always going between these two things, because this is your entire loop. On the road, and in between here, I guess something you can have little things like, you'd have, I guess, status change. And this is stuff like your HP for your items or whatever. So it kind of, this all happens between these two. This can happen at any time in the game, with player action, obviously. But what you're doing is you're going from on the road, which you're moving around, and you're engaging these in-depth venues, and they could be, like I say, boxcars, right? Inside of a person's vehicle, campsites, kind of like you find a campsite, abandoned shacks or something, or maybe a bus station. Like these are heavily narrative driven. So let's change the text here. I'm writing these notes down because this is my documentation. It is all narrative, I guess. Let's go back here. Need to make this a little bit. This is narrative focused. So I don't want to just alienate myself here and say that it's that it is. I don't want to do. Can I do something else other than that? Can I do it's a line? Do I have a circle? Here's my circle. Perfect. I have narrative focused, and over here I have movement focused. This is where I want the player to be. These are the focus. These are the things I want the player to focus on, right? I want them to focus on moving, finding things, engaging with these small micro stories and stuff like that. These small micro characters. Or these micro objects, these little interactions, the survival, the mechanics of the physicality, right? The movement aspect of getting the body and the person to the place. But these narrative ones are the ones that you're gambling, and you're rolling the dice on them. Is this person a crazy person? Is this person going to take me further away? Is this person lying to me? Is this going good? Is it going bad? They're going back and forth and all this kind of stuff. So the players focus more on gauging the narrative, and this is where the heavy kind of narrative piece kind of comes in. This is the second half of the game, and this can make or break your entire scenario. You could unlock new things, you could lead into whole new games, a whole new the narrative side of this thing is endless, all based on accumulation of prior stuff. It's not all based on that. It's also based on a random environment, and it's based on your environment. It's based on random chance. It's based on it could be based on decisions you've made. This is the power that we have with that scripting tool, is that decisions you make can have impacts on these micro characters. In the short term, there's just going to be a small handful of characters that you know about, and decisions you make with one character, they might be friends, right? So you go off and you piss off, Morgan. He's trying to give you a ride, and you give your dick to him. You leave you eat a bunch of his cheeseburgers and you leave him on the ground. Like, what are you doing? You leave him on the car floor. What's wrong with you, Mega? What's wrong with you, buddy? But it turns out I'm driving. I'm the next ride, and Morgan's just telling me, I just picked up this guy, and he just dumped cheeseburgers all over there. I see you. I see this guy. I'm gonna take him for a ride. So I go and I take you off and throw you off track and say, yeah, get out of my car, your ride's over. Morgan says hi. You know, and boom, that's, you know, that ruins your day. This is the kind of stuff that I want to have happen. And those systems are going to get very complicated very quickly. That is a very complicated example. I completely understand that. But I want it to be that kind of ripple effect. And that narrative focused side. Even these little micro choices you make on the movement focused side. There's little choices you make. When I interact with a garbage bag, if you interact with a baby blob creature that makes you smell like garbage, you know, you're kind of done at that end of that day. You know, you try to get into someone's car, they're like, you smell like garbage. I don't want you in my car. And that changes stuff. There's going to be little things like that. That's why I'm focused on the movement side. It's where the player can engage and move around, and we can start experimenting with narrative, and we can grow the narrative as far as we can to get the game out the door for the end of the year. That's the plan. And we can always iterate on this engine. This engine's going to not be the end of the first game is not going to be the end of this whole schematic for the game. But that's where I kind of want to go. Let's save this as well. We're going to go with game loop. There we go. Close. Perfect. Okay, so we have our narrative controller. We have our story data. I don't need this narrative thing. Here, the more and more I realize we have this narrative thing. No, don't change it. Don't change the thing, man. You're great just the way you are. So we are going to move narrative back into game model. So now I have my narrative controller. I guess I could just call this... Yeah, we're going to call it narrative controller. Or better yet, story controller. Perfect. I don't think I have any other controllers like that, right? Nope. Good. Let's change the name of this thing to story. Let's get rid of whatever this narrative thing is. And then I also want private story. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull in that API using inc.runtime. That's it, I think, right? Yeah, story, the story. And then everything's loaded in the start event. So let's load this up. If story data is not equal to null, then we need to load the story. So story is equal to story dot... How do I do that again? How do I load a story? Let's go back to my code. Scenario, did I do that in here? This is the thing, I like when I get to the point where I know where I've already written the code once, so I'm like, I can remember that I did that once. I don't need to do this a second time. New narrative, let's go to that. Oh my goodness, I made so many... I built the first version, this text-based version, as an application, as a software application, focusing on, you know, proper pattern design, and you want that. You do. I've heard Lucas Pope talk about it. I've heard other code-centric people talk. You want the proper patterns in place, but yeah, you gotta let some of that go to get the thing out the door. Because the hardest part isn't the code. The hardest part is the fun. Where's the fun, right? It's the hardest part to figure out. It's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it makes sense to seem like Inky's doing all the state machine complexity for. Yes, exactly. Totally judges with you're deleting that class, that game variable testing it. Yeah, absolutely. It totally is. And there are game variables inside of Inky. You can actually have your Inky scripts, your Ink scripts call C# functions. You can map them if you want to make them faster, because Ink is not as fast as C#. It's just not going to be that way. But you want to keep your story and your narrative and your data inside of that script. So it's all tracked together. So you want to kind of keep that all together in one spot. So the idea is you could take your Ink and you could run the game almost by itself, like in a purely text-based version, right? That's really what you could do. One great game to look at for this is 80 Days. It's on PC, iOS, everything. It's one of their first games that they've done with the Ink engine, and it is very text-heavy. Beautiful, beautiful UI around it, but it is heavy text. You can see you can scrap all that UI, all that flash, and just really have a couple of buttons and a console window. You could totally do it that way. All right, so let's figure out how we create this. So we just, oh, new story. Oh, we just, that's easy enough. There we go. Excuse my mouth flatulence. I don't need a this. I have story data dot text. Perfect. Okay, so as long as it's not null, load the story. So this will load it from the thing that we've bound it to. We can make this more dynamic later. That's the idea. I'm not worried about that. For once, probably not concerned during text. Yeah, probably not. But you know, the thing is, you can trigger things like new music, actions, animations, all these different kind of coroutines can kind of get triggered off of your script. You know, when the dialogue is rolling and a thing shows up, it'll explode. This is a taller, but my brain would explode with joy as a player if my individual story experiences directly influence my song character sings during the audition at the end of the game. It is. If you make it that far, that would be amazing. So, music is the next. Once I have this, where's the dialogue piece working, the music is the next piece, and I have a few albums I've been playing around with that what are kind of like these, what I would call them, they're good Journey albums, not Journey the band, but like they have a full arc to them, and I, you know, and like in Morgan, you know, I've been playing around with Pixel Recall stuff. And like that's a really good foundational one. Like it's actually really good as Lego blocks. That's why I asked you about the music earlier. And it has all of the different scenes that let me build my own little narrative to kind of get it out there and kind of figure something out. And I would love to see what happens when, you know, your experiences get you to that audition. And yeah, it impacts your play. Like I've even come down to the physical part of it, right? Like you get down there. So just to catch everyone up, one thing I've wanted to do in my game, I don't want to be violent. It was funny because I was talking to Morgan about this before, and we were chatting, and it came back with this whole, hey, you know, what could happen in the game? And I just kept on coming up with like really dark scenarios, always like serial killers and mass murderers, and you're the murderer. There's always murder and death and killing, and he's just like, that's a pretty dark left. That's a pretty dark opener, man. You know, like everything was revolved around like the darkness, and I started thinking about that a little bit further, and I started to realize like, well, what if I didn't have that? Like if I want my 3.5 or 4-year-old to play this game, like I can't have like physical violence. I don't necessarily want physical violence, but what I would love to have is like you're trying to get to an audition, and then the instrument you're carrying is the HP. You got a guitar and a couple things, and you're on your way, and you got to get it there. And I think the difficulty level is based on what your instrument is. You know, if you're a vocalist, it's easy. You're not carrying an instrument. If you're medium or normal, it's guitar. If it's hard, you're a harpist. You know, like something ridiculous. And you got to transport this thing, and based on how well you do in your experiences, it adjusts. Because I have tinkered with that idea in my head, too. The non-VOS reminds me of the old Scum VM games. They never crossed the line. Usually was a substitute for that. Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. Like the old, like Maniac Mansion and like the LucasArts titles, right? Like they didn't get into the violence. Even things like Full Throttle about biker gangs, the violence was there as like, I don't think anyone was straight up murdered, right? It was just people got punched or something, but it was never like gore and rated R kind of stuff. So, but yeah. Let's see here. That's a really cool idea, Morgan. I like that one a lot. Like I've been weighing it. I'm glad to hear it coming from someone else because I've been thinking about that. I've said that to a couple of my buddies, BSing about this game. In any case, that'll be on the list. I'm gonna write that down. Music and song outcome. Because it's funny, the original plan for this game was actually you would write a book based on your experiences when you got to the end of the story. And based on how well you did and what people you interacted with and what your experiences were, it would actually give you the tone of your novel. And, you know, there's, again, I would always fall to the darkness. You know, like you could get right into the woods and see some horrible stuff. And, you know, maybe that'll be a story we tell with this engine. This engine could power that experience, strangely enough. But yeah, hitchhiking's a little bit lighter. It's a smaller version of it. But yeah, I wanted to do a game where you hitchhiked across Canada. But we're gonna start small and go from there. Okay, so we're gonna load this game up in the story control. So we have our story, which is great. And now what we need to do is we need I guess what does that loop, how does that loop work? The loop would work with, so now I've loaded the story. Let's just try triggering this. Let's just do hard, let's brute force this stupid thing. Okay, so I've got my controller. Now I have a garbage bag. And I have a dialogue trigger. Let's go with dialogue trigger. Where's gonna drop? Where's gonna... Sorry, I'm really weird about the folder hierarchies in all my projects. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a JavaScript developer. And then I went to C++ and found out that's even harder. So I got this weird thing about the whole thing. Okay, we got that working. Good. Okay. Let's... What? Why do you keep on doing this to me? Delete. Yeah, delete. It's fine. You're fine. Your heart will go on, I promise. Okay, so we've got our story controller. And we have our dialogue trigger. So let's go to dialogue trigger. So what this is, it actually invokes an action. Thought I heard a baby noise. Nope, no baby noises. Okay, so I have my event manager. Okay, and it invokes. So this is actually something that might change sooner than later, but let's go with dialogue ID. What are you? You're a string. Ah, perfect. So what ends up happening here is that this should actually be the name of this guy, GarbageBag.inc. So GarbageBag is my identifier. Or better yet, this is my identifier. Garbage_bag. Hi, kitty. I got a kitty up on the... Will you come over and say hi to everybody? No? It's gonna knock stuff over for me? Probably. Probably. Okay, so I want that dialogue ID to match that. So we are going to change GarbageBag1 to use that. Because this dialogue ID, this is the key. This is the thing that I want to say, hey, use this identifier to get this, to jump to this part in the story. Oh my god, if the Baby Blob survives your song as a duet. I love the idea that if you roll that, right, because that is it's a random chance you get the Baby Blob. You roll that, you get the Baby Blob, and that impacts it. Like, this is the stuff you can do in the narrative piece, and this is why I want to get the tech out of my way so I know what I can do with this thing. I love that idea. You know, and you get this lovely ending. People hear your duet, and although they are amazed by your beautiful, enchanting voices, they are horrified by the monstrosity you've brought on stage, but they are fearful for their lives. You get all of the gold records out of pure fear and rule the world. Credits. Okay, so we got our garbage bag here. So if I push play, this should just do something simple. I walk up to this guy, it should say _garbage_bag. So what I want to do is I want to change that in here. So I've wired some of this stuff up already. So let's go to event or beatboxes for you. I'm writing that down. Song changes based on outcome. Beatboxing / extra voices on song. Because what if you get like a whole band together, you know? You just bring a whole bunch of people. Bring a drummer, bring a saxophonist, bring one of the hitchhiker, one of the drivers. They drive you right there. One of them's a saxophonist. I'm friends with the saxophonist, you see, and he's going to be one of the drivers. And you'll have the saxophone in the back. See, I love that idea. Even that's something simpler I can do. Based on the number of people you gather, you get extra voices in the song. You know, maybe the song's the same for the most part, but it just kind of changes how it feels. The little 30-second melody that you get to play. I love that. That's definitely got to go. That's got to be the money on this. That's what we got to do. That's the scenario. You know, what song did you get? What variant of the song? I need to work on that. Because then it could be the same song. You don't have to worry about the song. It just has the same melody, but you can add so many voices and so many layers to it based on the amount of narrative you add to the game. Oh, that is beautiful. We're just gonna star voices. Like, what if you made a robot, that hitchhiking robot that was out there for a while, right? You meet the hitchhiking robot, and then it doesn't beatbox for you, but it actually starts playing like out of it. It just starts playing MIDI, like a MIDI out of it. Like boop 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 boop. You get some chiptunes in there. Get your baby blob. And then you start just jamming ba-na-na-na, like whatever instrument. You gotta kind of vary with that. But I'd love to just have that all work together, and you just find these bizarre voices, and you just stitch all those. Each voice is a character or an interaction in the game. I'm writing all these down on a piece of paper. Each voice is interaction. This term I like to use is actually micro story. Interaction in the game. Micro stories are the things that I was pointing out in a couple of old streams about. Yes, Dave the Hodgepodge is the win. That'd be amazing. I love this idea. Yeah, some scatting. See, that's the thing. I don't want to be. Nothing should be normal. The game is going here, just to be clear, Omega, just so you know, that the story is hitchhiking from Flin Flon to Winnipeg, and that is literally what I want to have happen. Just outside of Flin Flon, you're getting to Winnipeg, because it's such a weird title, weird setup, weird everything, and then if you had this weird set of characters, like it'd just be this bizarre little first game that's out there. I would love that. Would be a great first game. I'm so excited about this. R. Morgan, we need to chat more about this. We need to chat more about this. You and me, my friend. You and me. We have good words coming. Okay. So let's go to the dialogue start event. Let's go back to the boring code stuff. Because, yeah, I'd love it. A vehicle you should encounter should be another cross country. That's actually a game I played on stream on M Omega. I beat Cross Country Canada with 9. I got like the special ending with after I did 9 deliveries or 9 pickups. And yeah, this game is definitely a nod to that. I actually have it stashed. I bought a map. I bought it on eBay, a 1967 Canadian Centennial official highway map. Did you eat Hitchhiker? Yeah, exactly. You tried to eat you eat the hitchhiker. Burp. Just, oh. You didn't lock your guitar case. It was stolen in the night. Okay, so here we got our dialogue start event. It said, you can't eat that. Okay, so where do I actually listen for this? If the trigger happens there, does it happen in the controller window? Because it shouldn't happen there. I should be listening here in the trigger The dialogue trigger should be the one providing the text, I'm guessing. It said, you can't eat that. I really like that. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I have an event manager to kind of capture all of the events in the game. We'll see if that's actually performance enough, because I don't want to have to know where everything is, because I want to be able to have the designer, which is me, but if someone to come in and just drop objects and add script, I want the engine to be decoupled enough from the design that I can just kind of tie these things together loosely, but we'll see if that has an impact on performance. We'll have to see. But the dialogue start event invoke, so it invokes this thing. And if I go over to my HUD, I have a dialogue window controller, and this is where I think I respond. Toggle window. Yeah, I think I have a listener. Yeah, here we go. Add listener, because the dialogue window, the HUD, is listening for that. It's listening for the, hey, like, what do you want me to do? So, what I wanted to do here is, rather than in start dialogue, yes, I have a continue dialogue function, which is kind of a cheap thing. So rather than it listening to this, what I should probably do is, yeah, what we can do here, let's steal this code, right? No, it needs to have some of this, doesn't it? So right now I have the HUD responding to the event. Maybe I don't want that. Maybe what I want is some static methods to call from within the event handler itself. So let's try that first. Let's just steal this code rather than delete it. Let's steal it like this. So this is a mono behavior. That's good. And I want to do public void, or this is just void start. And we are going to add listener to start dialogue. Okay, go back to this guy. Event manager. Start dialogue. Okay. So I don't have these methods. That's why it's freaking out on me. Okay. So we want to do attach listeners to those events. And we're actually going to get rid of this continue one for now. And end dialogue. We're just going to start with a start dialogue. So we're going to do public, or let's just do public void start dialogue. And this one has a string as a parameter. This would be, I actually don't need that string because inside of here. Okay, cool. We are gonna nuke these. So we're gonna break our narrative Windows system. I knew we were gonna do that pretty quickly, but that's fine, I suppose. And then I'm gonna go to this, go to definition. And where's my event? The dialogue start event. You know, and rather than break all of it right away, let's just keep my garbage legacy code in there. String dialogue ID. Now, this won't care about it. It is going to ignore dialogue ID because this is... Oh, 1 second here. 1 sec, ladies and gentlemen. I'll BRB. I gotta go check on one of my kiddos. the one who's recovering, so I will be right back as soon as I can. One sec here. Sorry about that, we are back. Sorry, not sorry. You know, you got, Oh, I gotta go back. BRB yet again. Oh my goodness. Real life. Real life, I tell you what. Okay. Okay. Let's close that guy. Okay. So we're gonna just tie this up because I think I'm probably running out of time with the kiddo and the family and stuff like that. But we had a really good stream tonight. Like a ridiculously good stream. I am so excited about this stuff. Let me just take a little quick peek here. Let's just see if we can tie up this method or not. So what I want to have happen is this is going to on the start dialogue trigger. When I trigger this, it's going to do a start dialogue trigger player action. That happens. This gets called when a certain thing happens, which is fine. And then we have our start dialogue event. And that is, we're listening to ourselves along with other things. So like our HUD is going to listen to this as well. And so what we'll do is we want to do we want to call the story controller method. Okay. So what I want maybe I don't want this here. Yeah, maybe I do want it in the dialogue window. I don't know if I want that exactly, but I mean, the dialogue window should only display text that is written by a narrative designer or the author, right? So if I get rid of this guy, let's just keep making our dialogue window controller bigger. Okay, so we are going to... has more dialogue. Yeah, okay. I mean, hypothetically, we could put the whole story controller in here, but we're not going to. We are going to do this. Private story controller. Story controller. And what I would like it to do... Actually, we can, since this is a game object, I can put this guy up here. And I'm going to do serialize field. But we're also going to do default it if... Why do I have an extra space here? If story controller is equal to null, then I want to fetch that component myself. Story controller is equal to get component story controller. I want to find object of type story controller is what I wanted. There's only going to be one. That's what I care about. And I really got to make that a singleton instance, really? But, you know, whatever. Let's just cheat. Let's reattach our events. Like that. And what I want to have happen here is on start dialogue. We want to load the text from the story. So let's do public. So this guy, the controller, is going to do public void jump to string, and we're going to go to dialogue ID like this, and then what? I want to do story dot. There's a choose path string. Is that what it is? Reset call stack. Yeah, this is the one I want, I think. Yeah, change the current position of the story. Did I run out of music? For real? We're back to this guy again. This is that... Too quiet. Too quiet, too calm, too chill. Okay. Okay, I also loaded up my Discord. Whoops. Discord's coming. Discord's coming for a place for just people to just brain dump about this stuff. It's just more of a convenience thing to converse with me about the game that isn't one of my regular channels. So, let's see here. Story. Dot choose. Yeah, choose path string, I guess. And it's going to be dialogue ID, and then it's going to be true for resetting the call string. So we're going to have that. And that way it's just going to be, we're going to be using ink to load the pieces we care about. And I just want to make sure I have this correct. Reset call stack. If the option of passing false to the reset call stack, right? If you don't want this, okay, wait. By default, okay, these examples should work. Not that stitch. Okay, note, however, this won't necessarily work. Okay, blah blah blah. Because this is all documented weird. From here, you can call can continue to evaluate the next line. Okay, perfect. That's what I want. By default, this will reset the call stack behind, which means that any tunnels, threads, or functions that you're at the time of calling will be discarded. This is different from the behavior of choose choice index, which will always keep the call stack. Okay. Since the choices are no... Yeah, so this is fine. I wanted to choose a thing. Yeah, okay. We're not driving the story. We're not playing just driving through, but we're using this as a very fancy narrative state manager. So we're going to do it that way. And it defaults to true, so I just got to do it this way. Okay, so this is what I want to jump to. I want to... Let's say, load dialogue? Yeah, let's just stick with that. Maybe we'll just change the dialogue controller in the end anyway. So load dialogue is going to do that, and it's going to return... It'll return a string, but it's going to do public string, I guess, next line. And this one we want to return story dot continue. So we want return next line. So we want to call that one. So we're going to call that guy down there. I guess this one we could just do start dialogue. This one is continue. Just keep my method names making sense. Okay, that's fine. Okay, continue. This is the so there is a can continue property of this, which I need to update. Continue dialogue. Okay, can't continue. Continue the story for one line of content if possible. If you're not sure there's more content left, for example, before calling this function. Okay. So, we do if story dot can continue. So here's what we want to do. String as we go next line is equal to null, because it'll return null if it can't continue. And that's what we'll use here. Can continue. Overly verbose code. Perfect. And then we do next line is equal to this. Else then what do we want to have happen? Something, but we don't really care. And we are going to return next line like so. Okay, we're not worried about choices yet. That's coming. That is the next narrative-driven feature we're going to have, so you have player input. Okay, so start dialogue, continue dialogue. Just occurred to me I should have probably end dialogue. Public void end dialogue. That way it's else. Okay, so what if we just did this way? I go off and do story.can continue is equal to true. So if it is true, you gotta check if that was the last line. If now if story dot is equal to false. And then we do end dialogue. Otherwise, we're going to keep going, and that's what's going to trigger the next thing, because then it'll end the dialogue. Yeah, let's just see what that does. I'll just do void on this one. I don't know what it's going to do yet. Okay. So yeah, we've got some stuff going on here. Definitely got some stuff going on here. Okay, toggle dialog windows true. So what I want to do here's what we want to do up here. We want to have a public Boolean property called more dialogue. Has more dialogue. And it has a get, and that get is going to return story.can continue, and that is all it's going to do. There is no set. That is perfect. We'll save that. Yeah. Actually, just double checking to see if all of our chats were working. The Restream chat's working great. The Restream chat is working great. Okay, so we do that. Continue. Okay, good. Let's give this a quick test. Let's see if this works. No, that's not what I want. Oh. You know what? I might have to just call it before we can actually test this on stream. Yeah. Yep, family comes first, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it means. So I'm gonna test this off stream, and you'll see the results up on Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff that I talk about, because this has been a very productive stream. So let's talk about what we did, because this is a lot of me getting into the darkness of code. That's not very fun to just stream all the time. But let's talk about this a little bit. Perfect music for it too. What did we accomplish tonight? So first, we started out with Dev Thoughts, where I talked about Steamworks and how it's kind of a de facto winner, because you need Steam support when you go live. You need to have Steam. You're not going to be able to fight Steam. You want to be on Steam. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be a Steam exclusive. So no matter what you're going to do, you're going to have to branch out or look at something that supports those Steam APIs natively. And I think PlayFab does, if I remember correctly. So we talked about that, and that episode will be going up next week. Second thing we did tonight, we really got into where we came from, where we were going, and where we're going to. So where we started, where we are, where we're going. And some of the stuff we talked about tonight, we started talking about the dialogue and the way this whole thing works, and we talked about Ankle, and we talked about, the Ink scripts and all that kind of stuff, and that was just how powerful that all stuff is coming together, and how we're going to migrate some of my old code from back in the day, the text-based version, into the newer version, so we can get into that. And then talking through with some chat, we had some great ideas from R. Morgan, M. Omega, we had Magic Stew pop by, we had a lot of cool people. Stilterfish was there for a while, that was great. Lots of people come in and hanging out, adding some feedback, adding some commentary is always lovely. And one of the big things we started talking about is how all of these, the whole point of using this narrative-driven piece is, we want to have these big narrative moments in the game that make people make these choices that have an impact on the end of the game. And the big end of the game is this kind of musical audition. And we kind of came up to this correlation of, based on your interactions, how can that impact the song you play? That was R. Morgan's great idea. And, which I had talked about with a couple of my colleagues as well. But I loved hearing it from someone else, because, you start to get your own little echo chamber. And the thing that we came to in this stream, which was the original idea, which I'm super hyped about, is the idea that the number of voices or the different sounds that can be in your audition are based on the people or the experiences you bring there, right? So the baby blob creature, as R. Morgan pointed out, the baby blob creature would be a voice. That's fantastic. I'd love to see that voice show up in there, Maybe you get a saxophonist as one of the drivers. You just get these people to come along, and maybe even those experiences carry forward with you. You can hear this beautiful melody at the end, or you hear this horrible, tragic, sad sound, whatever it could be. So I love the idea that's come out of the stream tonight, and I started porting that code over, and I'm going to do more of that off stream. You're going to see that hopefully for next week, or hopefully get a new build out in the next couple of weeks here. But yeah, this has been an absolutely productive stream. As usual, everybody, please like, subscribe, as steal from the old days of Geek and Sundry, right? Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the Facebook. Twitter and Instagram are the big ones. But you also find me on Twitch. If you're watching me on Mixer, you can find me on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, you can find me on all those places too. But I share all this stuff on there. But Instagram and Twitter are the two big ones. Discord is coming to kind of talk about the game and just game tech talk and just kind of find a home for this kind of stuff. But yeah, absolutely. Follow me at all those places / David West. And yeah, this has been good. We'll see if we get an episode of WTF up tomorrow at some point during the day. We'll see how that goes, because I'm a bit behind because of family stuff, but we'll see if it happens. I'll give it my best. And if you could do me a favor and have yourselves a lovely day and or evening, that'd be greatly appreciated. So have yourself a great night, and thanks for watching.